a new sophisticated accounting app for Shopify. It's called the Transparent Kitty, based on the principles of open book accounting, which allows a merchant to provide for third-party or vendor or consignment-based sales. In other words, they can share part of their sales, and it does this by creating a cost price per variant, allowing the merchant to see the actual profit between the selling price and the cost price and share that with their vendors in a nice, easy fashion. So we're going to install this app into a test shop that has a couple of orders. The app needs to be able to read-write products and orders and see customers. So we install it. The app comes with a small, relatively reasonable charge. So now the app is going ahead and it's bootstrapping itself, which means it's transferring products, creating vendors, going through the existing orders, and creating sales so that the merchant can immediately start taking advantage of the app. So while it's doing that, let's take a quick look at what's inside the app right now. We have, or at the shop, we have two orders. Let's take a look at the first one here that I made, and we'll see that there's a vendor assigned to this particular product, and that vendor is Custom Images. And if we look at our other order, we'll see that this sale would have been for a product that belonged to a vendor called Dudabides. So we should see two vendors in our app. So if we go over to our email, we'll see that we got a welcome letter. And while it bootstrapped, sure enough, it said we had two orders, 7 products, created 2 sales, and we had 2 vendors. So one of the principles of using this app is to create for the merchant a login account so that they can see the actual sales per vendor. So we're going to create that account now, and we'll log in. Now we're logging in as an admin. And so we can see that the merchant is now in control. I automatically assign the merchant to be one of the vendors available. There's 2. I can change that just by clicking and hitting enter and saving. I can assign that vendor a percentage. Say I'm going to share 30% of the profit with you. So if I wanted to see my vendors, I can see them in a nice grid here. If I wanted to see my sales, I can see those in a nice grid here per vendor. So that's all quite nice. I can see how much I'm sharing with the vendor, how much the shop is profiting. This is very sophisticated. If I want to pretend to be the current vendor, I happen to be right now set up as Dudabides. I can just pretend to be the vendor. And that's what the Dudabides, if he logged in, he would see. They also get to export this data. So their sales is controlled by a calendar, and they can turn around and they can restrict the dates that they see for their actual sales. And they can also see their customers to see who bought what. So it's a very neat way for a merchant to open up their shop to third parties. Go back to the administration now. And one of the things is I might want to add a new login that is secure for example, the actual Dudabides person. So I'm going to create that. I'm going to create an account for Dude Abides, and I'm just going to send that to one of my email addresses for the purposes of testing. I'm going to make sure that that's set to the right vendor and that it's an active account. So now that I've done that, I can essentially say, hey, I want to pretend for real to not be associated with Transparent Kitty right now as a merchant. So I'm just going to log out, and now I'm going to go and pretend that I'm just the Dudabides. So when the Dudabides gets their email, they're going to see this screen. If I go over to my email, I'll see that I indeed got welcome to Dear Dudabides, welcome to Swift Brawn, to Transparent Kitty, and I can see that I got a password. So I'm going to need to record this password to actually pretend to be that dude. And here's my little clickable link. Now I'm going to be a vendor. And sure enough, the vendor logs in, and now they can see their sales. They can see how much they've earned from the merchant's shop, how many sales they've made. Everything is great. They can export a report into CSV. And if they tried to, for example, sneak in, they're not an admin. They don't have a login for this. But the actual merchant, again, does. So if I pretend to be the merchant, well, I don't pretend, I am the merchant, I can, again, see everything and control everything. And I could say, hey, dude, at this point, I'm not happy with the percentage you're getting. So if I go over to the vendor screen and I say, dude, you know what, I think you get 50% of my sales, it's that easy. From this point on, any sales recorded for the dude abides, he'd get paid out at 50% now. So this is pretty cool for somewhat sophisticated shops that want to be able to keep track of these third-party sales. If I go over to the Shopify view of things, this is where I get just a brief overview of what I've got going in terms of products, vendors, how many sales, and how many accounts I have. At the moment, I have 2 set up. And as well, I can do a bulk export of all my products so that I can assign cost pricing. That is critical. If I look at cost pricing, I can see that for each and every variant I've got, I can now assign a cost price. So if the selling price is $65, I can actually say the cost price is $40. Now I know that I've got $25 of profit that I can split 50-50 with the dude, assuming that this product was the dude's product. So going back to Shopify, I have pretty much covered the bases of what Transparent Kitty is all about.